Give an idea of what the incremental cost in general might be to add these systems during a new apparatus purchase?
In, it really has to come from the OEM. It has to come from the installer. Um, Again, the wide range of systems that are available to, if you're just checking a box to say we're green, right? We've got an auto mitigation system on. That's a a much lower cost than actually making an impact on your fuel bill, on your maintenance bill, and on the environment. So that number, depending on the system, depending on your application, really has to come from the OEM or the installer, whoever's doing it for you. Because it's just such a wide range of systems and prices. What and Mark said it earlier, and I love it. Really, a way to look at this is how many years did it take to pay off, right? And if you're paying this thing off in 2.5 years, and now your fuel bill is free after that, your reduced maintenance costs are real savings after 2.5 years. You really got to look at the ROI. How long is it going to take? We'll make the investment, right? We'll make the investment, but when are we going to see a return on that investment? And 2.5, 3 years. That's Mark. What are you looking at? 2.5 years?
Yeah, and you know what? The key to that, I would say probably in most departments is when you're purchasing apparatus from a capital expense budget, which is generally much larger than your expense or your operating budget. So if you can roll this, if you're floating a bond to make these vehicle purchases through a capital purchase, you can roll this into your new vehicle purchase, and then you'll realize the savings in your expense budget, your operating budget, which right now is everyone is concerned about with the new fiscal arena in most municipalities. Folks are taking a little bit of a hit on their operating budgets. So if you can roll this cost into your capital budget, and you do take a little bit of a hit on your expense budget, this may just again bridge that gap and help you get through that budget crunch, because you're spending less to maintain your vehicles.
I have a very leading question for you, Mark, in that I know the answer. How do you know you're saving money?
Well, how do you know you're saving money? If you've got a small fleet and you can count on one hand, then it's real easy. I don't. I've got thousands of vehicles, so it's a little more challenging. It takes some really smart people in the back office to sit down and crunch those numbers. But if everyone's got, typically any shop you go into, you generally find a pretty savvy shop supervisor, shop manager, the folks that are running these repair facilities, and they can tell you. I know the gentleman that runs the shop for my ambulance fleet can tell you by vehicle, and he's responsible for well over 1,000 vehicles. He can tell you one by one, how that vehicle is doing. So if you talk to your shop folks, they will tell you that they're seeing that vehicle come in less for repair. And they're seeing it may still be coming in, but they're seeing less major repairs. And that's, they're not doing a motor, they're not doing turbos, they're not really having to tear down that unit and keep it, in the shop for 6 weeks to get it back on the road. That's where you see the return on your investment is better operational time, so more in-service vehicle time, and that will result in a financial savings for you.
Yep. Those technicians, they know what's going on with every one of those vehicles. Yep. More than happy to tell you too. Hey, thanks for this. Or also, don't ever buy that again, right? Like, I can't use this tool.
100%.
And then while the operating cost, to your point, is largely a separate budget item, right? Maybe not from the department, isn't managing that. At the end of, so every month, somebody in that organization has access to a report And whether you've got one vehicle on the system, whether you've got 101 vehicles on the system, you can look each individual unit, you can see idle hours saved, run time. And from there, it's very easy to calculate how much fuel you didn't burn. And then, somebody's got the wallet in that agency to say, look, this is how much money we saved. I mean, you point right to it. This is how much we didn't idle. This is how many hours the system saved us, which is 33 miles an hour. You can calculate it. That's a gallon of fuel that you didn't burn every hour that you're not idling. That's a real savings.
As large as New York City is, there's always someone watching. There's always someone watching your ledger to make sure that that you're doing things correctly and spending money correctly. The systems that that we're using, as Brian mentioned, we have it's got an intelligence system that reports back. It's got telematics in the vehicle that actually tells you on the screen what that vehicle is doing 24 hours a day, and how much you're saving in terms of both greenhouse gases and fuel savings, and runtime on the batteries, runtime on the engine. It gives you that whole metrics that lets you know what the vehicles are doing. So if you're going to buy a system, I would absolutely recommend including a telematic system or intelligence system into that system purchase, because it really tells you, and more importantly, it tells the folks that hold your purse strings what it's doing. So it lets them know that they're getting their money's worth for that initial outlay.
So yeah, while we're dancing around the price question, there's a lot of ways to look at it, and that the cost of the system absolutely depends on the system and the installer. So I would really talk to your installer, your OEM, about that.